Lindenwood head coach Jed Stugart, 52-49. It wasn't a basketball game. It was a football shootout, a big win at Central Arkansas for the Lions. And now they're going to take on EIU this week. And that is an OVC versus OVC game, but it does not count in the conference standings this year due to the way the schedule is laid out. So, Coach, just some thoughts on Lindenwood and the big win, and we'll go to some questions.
Well, I think number one, big win for our program, for our players to go down there against a very good Central Arkansas team. And, I think we've seen this coming. Honestly, I don't mean that arrogantly, but I think we've talked about this, once we got through, this journey has been, we go back to the UT Martin game where we figured out after halfway through the first quarter, like, hey, why can't we play with these guys? And next thing you know, we're almost tied. But then, we didn't overcome some things. Next week against SEMO, all of a sudden we're a little bit more frustrated because we feel like we kind of helped lose that game, not taking anything away from SEMO. And then finally, I think our kids started realizing, I've said this every week, we're getting more and more comfortable with teams at this level, even though we're not going to match up right now, on paper with these teams. They've been D1 ahead of us for quite some time, but our mentality is changing. Like, hey, we've been there, we've done this, we can do this, and it doesn't get easier this week, because of how well this team's playing, and there's no drop off. It's one thing I got to make sure our team understands. There's no drop off. So, but I'm really proud of them. Everybody, all the attention came to the defense, and when you see that many points, and a lot of questions this week are going to be our defense. And at the end of the day, this team is just a team that figures out they make plays when they need to make plays, and that's what I'm most proud of. Is in the fourth quarter, our defensive guys figured out a way to get a couple stops that we needed to be able to win that game.
All right. Before I let Dan answer the question, I was going to ask about just Cade's performance, how that compares to what you've seen him do before. I believe Coach Bookerson said earlier is one of the best performances he's ever seen from a quarterback at this level. How can you put that into words?
Well, man, it's we're so used to seeing stuff like this with him. I feel like it's been 10 years that we've been together. He's been our quarterback for 4 years now, and we kind of on our rest stop on the way back. Cade and I, it's funny, we kind of stood outside and I said, man, another crazy one. He said, yeah, Coach, we've had a few of these and been fun. And that's true. I just think back to, it's just another performance where you just kind of know the ball's in his hands, you have a chance. And he's got the confidence of his players around him offensively, but the kid's just special in the way he plays, and he's a winner. And, winners win. They figure out ways to win. That's just what Cade is.
All right, let's go to questions again. This is Dan, who covers FCS football in the state of Illinois for Prairie State Pigskin. So go ahead, Dan.
Hi, Coach. Nice to talk to you.
Hey, Dan, how are you today, man?
Doing well. My question for you is, I'm sure you saw the unique quarterback rotation that Eastern ran last weekend where they were alternating series.
Yeah.
Does that make it more difficult to prepare for?
I don't know if it makes it more difficult because, you're going to get you just got to pay a little bit more attention call wise because, the way they're using them. I don't think I think it's a good strategy right now for them I don't know. I'm not in their offices trying to figure out if they're trying to settle on one, if they're using this as a strategy. I think in college football, you don't see this in the NFL. It's kind of a big deal, but you never see this. In college football, it happens more than people think. So even we're not completely foreign to this, but it kind of makes you have to pay a little bit more attention to, hey, what quarterback's on the field and what they do. So yes, you have to prepare differently, but I don't look at it as it's like a major hurdle that we got. It's a hurdle like anything, but we should be prepared for it.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
My other question, and I'll turn it back to Kyle. Given the proximity, there's not a great distance between Charleston and where Lindenwood's located. They're in the suburbs of St. Louis. Do you see this developing into pretty good rivalry in the OVC?
I would think so. I mean, I think that's what's fun about, us coming into this conference. We talk about how all the attention was because we're in the same state with SEMO, but we've always said because of proximity, same kind of deal with Eastern, how close we are. We're all really talking and recruiting the same people. That's the other thing is that, ironically, we've been recruiting the same people for years against Eastern and against SEMO and play. We just don't win as many of the battles because we haven't been Division I. So we've already had these little kind of rivalries in recruiting, but now that intensifies because now we have a D1 box to check now with recruits, and that does intensify things recruiting wise. It makes it fun, and I do agree with you, Dan. I think it is. We're just different states. That's what kind of makes it cool. Kind of the border ward almost kind of a deal. Kind of fun that way.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Absolutely.
Dan asked you guys about the quarterback situation. What else have you seen from EIU? They've won back-to-back games now, so they've seemed to be finding their flow with whatever they're doing right now.
So, I've spent more time just really have been watching the offense most yesterday and today a little bit. Not being a coordinator of one, I got to go back and forth. The number one, they do really well in their quarterback run game. There's no doubt. When quarterbacks are running, you have to, you have to account for that. They're using usually the guy that's not accounted for in run games has got the ball now and running. So you have to always add. You got to have another guy there because usually the ball carrier that you give it to is the one blocking for that guy, or that they do a great job of getting guys to the next level in there. It's similar to some option stuff. There's always, you're going to get an extra blocker by not blocking somebody. So in their quarterback run game is very good. But both 6 and 0, they both do really good things. You can see, what a great job coach has done with this team, being first year again, coached well, sound, you just see a big difference. And that's why I think, we don't look at records. We don't look at previous years. We don't look at those things. At least I try to get our kids not to. That's what we're going to hammer is that, this doesn't get easier just because we played 2 of our top conference teams right now. It's not like, oh, okay, now it gets easier. It's and to be honest with you, Kyle, there's other guys that are doing really good things. Haven't watched as much. I'll spend more time watching the defense today because I've been kind of watching more offensively. And to go back to Dan's point, figuring out kind of quarterback wise, is this, you just got to be prepared because you can't guess. They might start one, they might start the other. I've never seen a 2 deep before. It's funny. I noticed that yesterday. It says when we exchange 2 deeps because it says it has the or on there. It's 2 quarterbacks that says or. So it could be Jonah, or it could be Don. So yeah, it's the first time I've seen an or on a depth chart.
If it makes you feel better, Coach, Western Illinois this year was listing 3 guys as or. So.
Yeah. There you go. So, oops, my motion light went off. So you guys still see me. There we go.
We do. That's not much of a depth chart there. 3 people. It's just whoever you think. Any more questions, Dan? Or are you good?
I'm good. I thank you both for your time today.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you joining us, and best of luck this weekend. We'll talk to you again in 2 weeks then.
Sounds good, Kyle. Thanks, Dan. Good talking to y'all.
You too. Thank you.